Hey guys, welcome back to another video with Lim Reviews. So today we're here to check out the Realme 8 Pro. I've actually unboxed this guy right here, and it's a pretty interesting device. It just got launched in Malaysia here for RM1299 for a single spec. It comes with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of internal memory. But this device here is a pretty interesting one, and why I say that is because there's a couple of really interesting decisions that have been made about this device right here. So first up, a couple of things has been downgraded. A couple of specifications has been remade, and I'm talking with reference to the Realme 7 Pro. And there's only one major item that has actually been upgraded, and I think you might already know what that is about. So we'll talk a little bit about all that and whether Realme is headed in the right direction with what they're doing with the Realme 8 Pro. So before I start that, I just want to show you guys what came in the box. Naturally, you get your very standard casing right here, transparent case, nothing too spectacular about that. You also get your 50-watt charger. So this is the China version, but obviously if you're in Malaysia, you'll get the Malaysian version. You also get your Type-C cable right here, and that's pretty much everything that you get in the box, including your device, of course. So taking a look at the Realme 8 Pro right here, I mean, a lot of people on YouTube have already been complaining about this Dare to Leap being too big and whatnot, but to a certain extent, I believe that some people might actually like these wordings there. I mean, me personally, I'm not a huge fan of this. In fact, I'm not really a huge fan of the back panel as well. It is this really smooth kind of like sandstone kind of like feeling at the back here. Take a look at this detail that you can see on the back panel right here. It is actually very slippery, and I've almost dropped the device a couple of times now. Of course, I didn't use the case, but just bear in mind that this is super slippery to hold, but it does look nice. I mean, in a certain way, the gradient from the top to bottom is actually mirrored on the sides here with the silver top and the bluish bottom. Yeah, so pretty nice frame here. Overall look, it's I would say it goes for a pass. Very common look here, nothing too special. One thing you can take note of here at the back is the lenses. So they do stick out a little bit, but it's only the 4 rings at the back here. So again, not too big of an issue there. You do retain your headphone jack at the bottom, and I think that's a good point right there. And moving on to the front, this is where we get your AMOLED display. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about all that in the coming minutes. Alright, so let's check out this device right here. We do have a in-display fingerprint scanner, which occasionally works very well, like how I just showed you, but occasionally it doesn't work very well either. So it's kind of a hit and miss kind of situation here, but there you go. We just missed that right there. Second time fail, third time fail, there we go. So like I said, it is a hit and miss for the in-display fingerprint scanner, and that's pretty much how this device looks like. You do have a tiny cutout camera at the top left corner, if you can see that. So it's a pretty small one, and I appreciate that with the Realme 8 Pro. Alright, so I was saying there's a couple of things that have downgraded. And the first thing I want to talk about that is the selfie camera at the front. So me personally, I'm not too big of a selfie fan, so it doesn't really affect me that much. But if you're counting, the Realme 7 Pro had a 32 megapixel selfie camera, whereas this has a 16 megapixel selfie camera. So this device is a very straightforward device. I'm going to tell you everything that's pretty much same as the Realme 7 Pro from the previous generation, and we're going to start with the let's just start with the display. So this is an AMOLED display. It is what is it again? It is a 6.4-inch AMOLED display, and unfortunately you still do not get a high refresh rate. So what I mean by that is that this device here in 2021 is still running on 60 Hz. It's not to say the slowest, but if you're used to something at least 90 Hz or 120 Hz, and you can get that at devices that are actually cheaper than this device right here. So you're only getting 60 Hz, which I think is a missed opportunity here with the Realme 8 Pro. So you have to live with this panel if you are buying into this device right here. So the second thing I want to mention about is the processor as well. So powering this device is a Snapdragon 720G, which was exactly the same as the previous gen as well. No improvements here. It still works fine. I mean, for a mid-range device, you're getting some decent performance here. Gamings, obviously, you can't play games on the highest settings, but I could still enjoy my game of Mobile Legends on this device pretty happily. Not too much of an issue there, but just bear in mind that you're getting the 720G and not like the 732, which some other devices are using. So that's in terms of the processor. Moving on, we still have the same slow memory. So it's still UFS 2.1 here for that 128GB internal memory. So like I said, a couple of stuff here that has been remained the same, and again, I think it is a missed opportunity. Alright, so what's the deal with this device then? What is it really about? Why did Realme launch this? So it's particularly due to the main camera. So we have 4 sensors at the back here, and 3 out of 4 of them are the same as the previous gen. So there's only one major change right here, and that is with the 108 megapixel main sensor. So I'll talk a little bit about that in a couple of minutes. We also have the same 8 megapixel wide, 2 megapixel depth, and 2 megapixel macro, which again, it is not too much use here, but yes, that 108 megapixel sensor is a pretty good one right here. And whether or not you think it's good enough for you to actually make that purchase, let's check out a couple of sample photos. Right, so I've taken a couple of photos with the Realme 8 Pro right here, and as you can see in my gallery, I have lots of shots here, both in the day and night. And one thing I did notice about this sensor right here, the thing that I really like is that it has kept the temperature levels, like the cool or warm kind of levels at a very accurate rate. So notice that even when the weather wasn't too good, the colors on my pictures turns out pretty accurate, and I could actually see like the real kind of colors that I was seeing with my eyes. So that's one thing that I really like about the camera and in the day. Another thing I want to talk about that is the resolution, because it is 108 megapixels. So naturally, images turns out pretty crisp and sharp right here on the Realme 8 Pro. I do need to point out one thing though with the camera, and that is the HDR, which to be honest, in my opinion, isn't really showing too much of shadows. So we still get a couple of dark images here and there, but maybe that could be fixed in a software update. Alright, so those are the daylight shots. Moving on to your night mode. Okay, this is where it gets pretty interesting, because I kind of like the images coming out from this device right here when taken at night. So images taken at night is really good in terms of the colors. Once more, the colors are very accurate, and you can see a lot of a very nice kind of night mode here. It's not the kind that will just brighten the entire environment, but what it does here, it creates a very natural looking night image that you can actually see very clearly. So again, check out these samples right here and let me know what you think about the sensor of this Realme 8 Pro. So that's pretty much the main sensor, the 108 megapixels. In a nutshell, I think I kind of like this sensor right here, although it is not the best in the industry right now, but it is something that is very strong for a mid-range device like this. Moving on to the ultra wide, the macro, and the depth sensor. Honestly speaking, it just looks a little bit underwhelming compared to the main sensor. So I didn't take that much shots, but here is an ultra wide shot for you to check out. The resolution is lacking and it is not the clearest. So this is what you can expect in terms of ultra wide. Alright, so 2 more things that I want to mention right here before I close up this video. One thing is the battery at the back here. It is still 4500 mAh. So same again to the Realme 7 Pro, but this time you're being downgraded in terms of the charging speeds. Previously it was like 65 watts I think, and now it's 50 watts. But nevertheless, it is still very fast charging, because you can still go from 0 to 100% in less than 1 hour. So that's not too much of a complaint in my opinion. Lastly, the last thing I want to talk about here is actually the speaker at the bottom. So we still get a single firing speaker right here. It is not a stereo speakers of anything like that. The single firing speaker here sounds a bit echoish. It's not the sharpest, again, not the crispiest right here. So it's an average speaker right there. And yeah, before I go, last thing, I almost forgot about that, the haptics on this device, guys. It is not a good one. The haptics here just feels like a budget device that, you know, when you just press on the device right here, the kind of buzzes, the kind of vibrations that it gives, it's not the short and sharp kind that you would like to expect from a device. But yeah, that's in terms of the haptics here. So again, this is my very honest review of the Realme 8 Pro. Essentially, just to wrap this up, like I said, the main thing here, the main upgrade is that 108 megapixel sensor, which does a pretty good job for the mid-range segment right here. But that's pretty much it with the Realme 8 Pro. Alright guys, let me know what you think about this device right here. I hope you appreciate my honest opinions like this in this particular video as well. And if you'd like to support the channel, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!